We're going to talk about the good news. We're going to talk about all the progressive wins that happened. Now, unfortunately, our guy out of Michigan did not win. El Sayed, he did not win, but, there's always a but. We did have some other progressive wins. So let's talk about that. So in a monumental upset, Wesley Bell unseated longtime St. Louis County prosecutor Bob in Tuesday's Democratic Party. You know, it's amazing that his stunning defeat of 7-term county prosecutor was done with criminal justice reform platform, which includes devoting resources for treating addiction and mental health, ending mass incarceration, and focusing on serious crimes. Now, for those of you who don't know, Bob, that Wesley replaced, managed to see the Mike Brown video. He managed to see the Mike Brown video and did nothing about it. He didn't prosecute the cop who committed the murder. He did nothing. So, luckily in grassroots democracy and whatnot, he has been removed with this guy named Wesley Bell. And I'm really excited. I'm excited for St. Louis. I'm excited for the city of Ferguson. For those of you guys who may not know, last year when Jordan went to report over there, he got arrested during during the Ferguson rallies and St. Louis rallies. It was just kind of amazing that, you know, a journalist got reported, and he wasn't even doing anything wrong. So here we are. I'm making sure. Okay. Nothing good on the chat. Okay. So that's a progressive win. Next progressive win we're going to talk about is Rashida Tlaib for Congress. I probably didn't say her name right, but I'm hoping I did. So let's go over and look at her real quick. We must stop tax giveaways to rich corporations and developers while our schools are crumbling and people are losing their homes. This was in Michigan in the 13th. So, I mean, wow, it's like amazing how people want these sort of things. But before we continue on, let's talk about how the Wall Street Journal and other mainstream media is looking at this. Most candidates backed by Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Bernie Sanders, falter. The far left is losing. Candidates endorsed by Bernie Sanders and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez suffered a string of defeats in primaries. So it really wasn't a string of defeats. There were a couple, I believe it was just 2 who didn't win. It was like 2 out of the 4, 5 that they endorsed. But it's important to remember and just keep in mind that even though the left is winning in the long run, like we've seen during Alexandria Cortez when she won her primary, there were 5 other progressive candidates that won in their primaries. Across the board, across the United States, progressives are winning their Democratic primaries. And it's not fair or nice, for that matter, that mainstream media and corporate media is trying to gaslight us into believing different. This really, to me, because I'm a fucking nerd, goes back to Noam Chomsky's 5 filters of mass media. And if you haven't read that essay, there is a video. It's a little cartoon narrated by Amy Goodman. And it breaks down how mass media creates a, what were they called? Manipulates consent from the public. And this is another one of those things. They're trying to make the working class believe that their ideas and virtues aren't going through, but they are. And CNN also said that Bernie's losing, and it's really curious about CNN. In one article, we'll see them put progressive in quotes, like, oh, this was the progressive candidate and this was the establishment candidate. But then for another candidate that they might prefer, they don't put progressive in quotes. It's almost as if progressive is a PR campaign. Ah, man, and that's what's really been pissing me off about Democrats is just that, they're like, oh no, progressives, holy water, no. And then now they're using the progressive brand as like some sort of badge of honor when they're not progressive. They're the most corporatist fucks I've ever seen in my life. But they're still parading around like they're progressive, so people, general public, like the perfect consumers, cannot discern between what's actually progressive and what's not progressive. I'm not gonna lie, before I really got into politics, I thought the Democrats represented me, and I bought into their PR campaign. And I know there's many others like me. My husband's the same way. He's slowly starting to see that he too is the perfect consumer, and they're just buying into this progressive branding that isn't real. But so like on one hand, mainstream media is doing like this juggling act where they're like, okay, this candidate over here is progressive, but they're actually our candidates, so whatever. But this one's progressive. This one, so regardless of some of the more notable losses, notably El Said in Michigan, we need to keep in mind that progressives are winning. And I'm really excited about the William one because it's just so sweet. Like, Wesley, not William. Wesley Bell, unseated longtime St. Louis County prosecutor. And the reason why I find that to be such sweet, sweet justice is because this prosecutor named Bob looked at footage of Mike Brown being killed and did nothing about it. And with Wesley being elected, there's going to be change. And that's really comforting to know, right? I think it is. I'm going to hop over to the comments real quick to see how things are going. Manufacturing consent. Mike, yes, thank you. Soundbite culture. When Hillary called herself a progressive and then got Henry Kissinger's endorsement. I remember that. I remember when Hillary called herself a progressive. And what was really interesting locally was that all the establishment Democrats who were saying, progressives are the white Bernie bros. Oh, and that's another thing. Can we talk about the white Bernie bro stereotype and how it's being thoroughly debunked in these progressive wins? The first Muslim woman in Michigan's 13th district was elected. Well, in the primaries. Like, the white Bernie bro, I'm still looking for the white Bernie bros. I haven't found them yet. If you could show me where the white Bernie bros are, I'd be really interested to see where the white Bernie bros are. So yes. Before we move on to like the next topic I've got going on. So for those of you just joining and you're like, where's Jordan? Jordan's hair isn't that long. Jordan looks like a girl. When did he get that pineapple tattoo? I'm Sam. I'm, I guess, like one of his co-workers? I don't know. But I'm an independent journalist out of Houston, and I'm working with him to get Status Quo launched off the ground. And I'm really excited about Status Quo. Oh man, I've been writing on Medium and doing my own little page. And I feel so lonely down in Houston because I feel like sometimes there aren't any, fists up journalists down here. I think I'm the only one. I haven't met any other fist up journalists down here. I've met some pretty adamant political commentators, but they don't do research of any sort. So I'm really excited to be Status Coup with Status Coup, and if you can donate, it's the paypal.me.com/status coup. It's in the video portion of this, like the link. And if you can't donate monetarily, please share this video. I cannot tell you the amount of social media suppression that's been happening. The amount of social media suppression I've been seeing just on Jordan's channel, on Jordan's Facebook, Twitter, and even on my end. Like, I don't even have as many followers as Jordan does, but I'm a social media marketer by day. Like, that's my corporate job. And like, paid ads have become a pain in the ass. I remember when I used to do paid ads based off Bernie Sanders, progressives, and it would go through. And they removed that from the paid ads. And now they're asking me for my social security number so I can amplify some of the articles I write. Like, they want my social security number. Next thing you know it, they're going to ask for my soul. Oh wait, they're not going to ask. They already have my soul. I mean, if we're in all seriousness. So anyway, I'm going to go back to the comments real quick. Plug your channel. Oh, okay, that's a good point. So I don't have a YouTube channel, but I do my reporting on Facebook and Twitter at Sam the Mullet. If you're mullet, as in like business in the front, party in the back, mullet. If you're a local Houstonian, I report on the radio show 90.1 KPFT on Fridays at 2 p.m. with the People's News. And I'm reporting with Free Press Houston, which is a local independent outlet. And they're not owned by any corporation. They're owned by one person, which is really nice.